So it's good to be here. I'm sorry, I didn't preach for the whole time I was gone, so it might be rusty how I was speaking. And on the way here, I lost my notes, so it's a very good sign that will be less rusty because it's more God, less than me, right? But I still retrieve some. So first, I want to read from Matthew 4:19, and then we'll be focusing on just two words. Yeah. So Matthew 4:19, I didn't give heads up to, so I'm not sure if you will see it there, but hopefully you have your own Bibles somewhere in the phones or in physical form. Matthew 4:19. It's a known scripture. And Jesus, starting his ministry, he's walking on this earth, and then he's led by the Spirit. He saw some people on the side of the lake, and then he said, "Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men," or fishermen. And my whole sermon will be now about the first two words, "follow me." Because I heard that you went through a discipleship journey, and I realized even last week when I was here and we had discussions, we were talking about, what it really means and how it is, what is it really to follow Jesus, what that really means. And so I thought about different areas, and I think for us, in English, "follow me," it's a very used term, even in last 10, 20, 30 years. Even more than maybe 40 years ago, today, "follow me" is used a lot. And I believe that each of you, if you have a cell phone, if you are on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, you did follow somebody. It's very common word. It's something what we don't even pay attention to. We just we see a video and this guy like, if you want to keep up with my news, with my channel, follow me. Click that button. And then you are tempted because it was interested, so you either click or you just let it pass. But then if you click, what happens? Did you ever follow? Like maybe some, but I just forget about it. I totally forget about it. Sometimes I receive notification and I'm like, did I ever follow this person? Wow. Like I don't even agree with him, but somehow I did follow him at some point. That's my story. Maybe not yours. But there is everywhere. We are surrounded by follow me there, follow me there. We all want to be followers. We all want to have followers. Some less, some more, but we at least me, I'm not really following those who I commit that I will follow. In the first century, when Jesus really said when he was walking around the lake, and when he said, "Follow me," it was a little different, "follow me." Not just the words. Yes, these words, he was probably speaking a very street Aramaic language. And how he said it, I don't know. I didn't find it on Google. How in Aramaic you say "follow me," but it means a lot. Maybe he didn't even said it in Aramaic. Maybe he said it in Hebrew, because this was very normal. This was very common. This was a part of their education system. If some rabbi or somebody who was high educated, well-known speaker, the person who know the law, that was in that time teachers, if they come to you and they will say "follow," it was honor. It was not everybody were invited to follow. And I read, so now the struggle, paper never closes, That's why I always love paper. But it was only for very special, very special number of people. It was only for the best of the best. The first school was for everybody. There is these terms, I can read it for you, but it's not really important because their school system was different. But basically, they were starting school, they were going, and they picked the best of the best to move them to another type of school. And then from the best of the best, the rabbis walk around, they visit the schools, they read how the kids react, and they pick the brightest. And they said them, follow me. This was like PhD. It wasn't even like college. It was PhD. It was like additional to college, additional to your education, you can have the honor to follow somebody. So what that means, that you actually leave everything what you were before, like forget everything. You might 20 years or 15 years be focused on, I don't know, they were not focused on electronic or in that time, but they were, whatever. Fishermen, for example, like the real story. You were fishermen, you were skillful fishermen. You kind of got that sense between you and the fishes where they are. You didn't need to have a scanner or anything like this modern fishing, but you just like sense it where the fish are. You have that, whatever, sense. I was thinking like third sense, fourth sense, seventh sense, sixth sense. Yes, thank you. So, and then somebody come and say, follow me. And you're like the whole my life not whole my life, like they were like 15 or 13, sometimes 17, 18, but you invest some time into your education and then somebody came in like, pff. But this was the biggest honor. This was something what only few. And the point of following somebody was not just to follow them for like year or two, or even when like Jesus, he invited them, you can say they were like 3 years college. No, this was like following for life. You commit yourself to become like them. So you leave your own, whatever you have, whatever you're planning to be, whatever your dreams was to be, and you decide like, okay, I'm going to follow these guys. I will be like him. You became mimic him. There was a terms in that you carry dust of your rabbi. So you walk that close to him that the dust of what he was making, there was probably a lot of dust, when he was walking in his sandals, you catch his scent, or you catch the dust on you. That was actually, I have it here, but it still keep closing, so I'm like, stop playing with this. But it was a term. It was something so real for everybody. If they decide to follow him, they become mimic him. They become to be like him. They forget everything. They sacrifice the family. They left their responsibilities, what they have till that day. If they were carrying water for the family, nobody was carrying water again. Because if they decide to follow, okay, they have a chance. They have a chance to say no. But let's face it. If the biggest, I don't know, celebrity for us is the biggest celebrity in the world. I don't know who that is because we have different focuses. But if the big celebrity will come to you, they will ask like, yeah, come with me. I pay for everything. We'll be like, let's go. Like I don't need to worry about anything. Like I'm like, maybe some of you will not go, but many of us will just like walk away because it is tempting to be one of the best and to get the best education and be the respected and educated, and also like, yeah, that was it. Today we have different priorities, but back in the day, Jewish nation was always very religious. They were disobeying God, but they were still religious. And some of you asking like, how this possible? But yeah, it is possible even today. People are religious, but they disobey God. because religious is man-made. And there is some connection with the God in the beginning, but it's man-made. In the same that day, religious was more than state. The king was there in Jewish nation, but it wasn't that important as rabbis, as the highest priests, as the Pharisees. They had the real power. They have the real influence. And so when Jesus said, follow me, it wasn't just like, yeah, once a while, check my YouTube video. Following is also scary. Following is also super scary, I think. It's one thing, it's honor, it sounds very great, especially maybe not in this time when, you can have, thousands and millions of followers. I was checking recently in Kenya, in Nairobi, there was this YouTuber called Speed. Some of you know him, right? He came to Africa tour, and then he was in Kenya, and he was like reaching the 50 million or 49 million. I'm lost. Somewhere there, followers on YouTube. Yeah, he's now about 15 because then he went to Morocco, Ghana, and other countries, in Africa. But when he was in Kenya, he was actually reaching out the number, and he was super surprised and happy, and he was in helicopter. Even I never really knew him, never watched any of his video, but I watched that stream. I didn't click that follow, by the way. I'm not one of the 50 million. But nothing against him. But what I want to say is that he's a still human, and he lay down, and he might feel depressed. Because 50 million following you, but still nobody is next to you, nobody catching your dust, nobody carrying your yoke. Like the people who decide to follow you in Jesus' time, they carry your yoke. That's why Jesus is saying, carry my cross, live with me, be with me, collect my dust. The dust be next to me. But following is scary. You know why? I don't know about you, but I like to know where I'm going. I love to know where I'm going. It's super sketchy when you start following somebody and you don't know. And especially, if somebody tell you in Nairobi, I follow you, and they taking you to roads that everybody say, don't go. Or, in my case, because, I drive on the other side of the road, when I'm preaching, I will be talking about traffic. You knew that. Because I was talking about Bratislava traffic. This is like 10-time level. Level up. Also level stress and have a different road rage. But what I try to say, I follow Google, I follow Google. There is no really Waze, people not using Waze. At least I didn't get any good response. So I follow Google. But Google have no idea about social aspect of the locality. So Google will take you the shortest road, and you end up in the middle of the slum. There's like barely a road. Of course, the both way goes. Thousands of people everywhere walking slow, and you are this wine mzungu. What mzungu means, white or lost, actually, somebody told me, and you are there with your navigation because you follow Google. But Google have no idea what type of people and how many people live there. So you follow it, but you get into trouble, you get into stress. So for me, following is not easy. And especially if you don't know somebody. Of course, Google, it's just whatever, technology. But even following people, I don't know, did you ever follow somebody on a place where you have no idea how far it is, and the person is not talking to you? They're just like, follow me. And you follow, and you don't know. Am I going for 10 minutes? Am I going for an hour? Because even people perspective of walking is different. Some will tell you, especially in Kenya, they will say, here's behind the corner. And then you go like 30 minutes and you're still not there. It's just right there. Just right there. It's true, right? Some of you can testify. I'm not making this stuff up. It's just you the perspective is different. Even I'm here. I was walking yesterday or day before. I stayed at my sister's place, and I asked her, like, we are at the Bila, like, can I walk from here? And she's like, what? And it's not far, it's less than 3 kilometers, but, but she probably never walked that part, like, because she always go by car. So the perspective is different, but following in the dark, or not in the dark, but just following is really like walking blind. I thought I will do some testing with you, but then because I have this image during the worship, I said, like, I closed my eyes and I was like, yeah, can you close your eyes? Now you don't see what I do. Oh no, you watching. Some of you watching, you're not really following the orders. I see you all. Just close your eyes, don't be afraid. But now you don't know what I'm doing, right? Following is like being blind. I imagine myself to be blind during the worship. And I actually thought God will make me blind so I can explain it better. Because I felt my eyes was closed, and I felt like maybe I don't want to open my eyes. And I want to walk by somebody will help me because I don't have that skill. I would stand up and I will be blind to talking to you. But following is like being blind. Now you can open your eyes so you don't fall asleep. But following is being blind. Of course, some might think like, oh, but I'm not going to follow anybody. I'm going to follow God, or I'm following Jesus. But when you get to know Jesus, you don't know really Jesus. You know a little bit about him. You know all what people will tell you, their experience. This is how God's worked. This is how Jesus worked. This is how I was saved. This is how it's worked when you're sick. This is what you do when I don't know, when you don't have a work, you go on your knees, you pray, you get all the recipes and all the experiments what people experience during their life. But when you meet Jesus, you have no idea how it will work. What you will do, like, you don't know him. So the following somebody who you don't know is very hard. But we are all in that shoes. We have eternity to getting to know God. We have lots of information about him. But personally, it's totally different when I would say, come to my place. I give you this person. He's very faithful, trustful. He will take you away somewhere. And you are traveling with him, but you don't know where you go, how long it will take. It doesn't ease. It's still hard. It's still challenging. It's still taking long. I don't know if you ever remember, if you go somewhere for the first time, it's always double time than when you're coming back. Or it's just me. It is challenging. It is hard. So for that reason, the only way to make it easy is to catching the dust of the person you follow. Is to be with him, is to mimic him. And that's what Jesus was calling his disciples. That's what every rabbi in that time in the first century was saying. Follow me. Be with me so you can mimic me, and one day you can be the rabbi and somebody will mimic you. And that's discipleship, right? That's discipleship. When we are doing something, we are following Jesus, and then somebody will maybe learn from us and follow us to only for one reason, to follow Jesus. Because there's no really point to follow a good person in this earth, a good pastor, a great pastor, amazing pastor, or prophet. It's so useful. The only one who is worthy of following is Jesus. And that's what he's telling you in the words, follow me. Mimic me. So now we have people around the world who know and learn a lot about God. And we have these different religions who will tell you how God works and what really means to be, disciples in this religion, disciples in that religion. And there's some of them, most of them are pointing on God, Creator, in some way. But Jesus is the one who's telling you, follow me, be with me. If you know me, you will know Father, right? There is all this knowledge in religion. There is all this obedience. When Jesus tell disciples, follow me, I never found, maybe he said that to them, but maybe it's not recorded in the Bible, but he never say, obey me. And that's not really what following means. It's not obey me. It's be with me. It's be with me. And of course, out of that you can say, yeah, you will obey because you will see it's working, it's good, it's healthy. But just obedience without following, that's death. Because why? Because Jesus follow you to different place. Jesus leading you through a different life. None of us has the same story. Even a marriage couple has a different story. They live together, but they have different story, different path. God's preparing for them a different encounters with different people. So if you don't stay next to Jesus and you just keep on something what you already know, it's hard to be a disciple. It's hard to be a follower of Jesus. You might be a fulfiller of the law. You might be a good person. You might be a perfect Christian in the terms of today. But you will not be what Jesus is calling you to do. Be my followers. Follow me. Mimic me. Be me. One day, be me. Jesus inviting all of us into personal relationship with him. That's easy to say, harder to do every day. But I want to encourage you that Jesus is inviting you to follow me. I mean, Jesus is saying, not me. Don't follow me. Jesus has a special plans for you. There is people I will never able to talk on this earth. I will never able even meet. But Jesus is leading you to them. Of course, walking with him, the point is to be with him, right? That's what he's calling us. But Jesus is not staying on he's walking. He's like, if he said follow me and then he will stay the whole life on one place, what's the point of following, right? You can just get comfortable seat and you don't need to do anything. But Jesus was walking, and we know, like, in reality, he was walking, he was doing stuff, and disciples were learning. They were making huge mistakes, but we are afraid of making mistakes. Why? If you walk with Jesus, yes, you can do mistakes, but you walk with Jesus. You don't stop at your mistakes. You keep going. You keep collecting his dust. You keep learning from him. You keep mimicking him. So one day, some people might mimic you how to follow Jesus. That's discipleship. The point is not, discipleship is not stopping with you. That's not the point. Discipleship is that when we pass to somebody else, when somebody's learning from us how to follow Jesus. And it's not perfect. We are not perfect. But Jesus keep calling us, follow me. He didn't come, I start with the honoring part, how important in their culture was the following, right? There was just the best of the best who were called to follow. But Jesus did something so totally against the culture of this
of first century Jewish people. What he said, he come to the lowest of the lowest